The Columbia Workshop. Tonight we present two new poems by two well-known contemporary American poets, Stephen Vincent Benet and E.B. White. These poems speak with a special intimacy and significance to those who have known the impact of events in this day. Mr. Benet's work, heard first, is called Nightmare at Noon. It was originally published in the New York Times Magazine on June 23rd. Here is Nightmare at Noon by Stephen Vincent Benet, spoken by Martin Gable.
There are no trenches dug in the park. Not yet. There are no soldiers falling out of the sky. It's a fine, clear day in the park. It's bright and hot. It's a fine, clear day in the park. It's bright and hot. The trees are in full green, summer heavy leaf. An airplane drones overhead, but no one's afraid. There's no reason to be afraid in a fine, big city that was not built for a war. There is time and time. There was time in Norway and time, and the thing fell. When they woke, they saw the planes with the black crosses. When they woke, they heard the guns rolling in the streets. They could not believe it at first. It was hard to believe. They had been friendly and thriving and inventive. They had had good arts, decent living, peace for years. Those were not enough, it seems. There were people there who wrote books and painted pictures, worked, came home tired, liked to be let alone. They made fun of the strut and the stamp and the strained salute. They made fun of the would-be Caesars who howl and foam. That was not enough, it seems. It was not enough. When they woke, they saw the plains with the black crosses. There is grass in the park. There are children on the long meadow, watched by some hot, peaceful nuns. Where the ducks are fed, there are black children and white, and the anxious teachers who keep counting them like chickens. It's quite a job to take so many school kids out to the park. But when they've eaten their picnic, they'll go home. And they could have better homes in a rich city. But they won't be sent to Kansas or Michigan at 24 hours' notice. Dazed, bewildered, clutching their broken toys. Hundreds on hundreds filling the blacked-out trains just to keep them safe. Just so they may live. Not die. Just so there's one chance that they may not die but live. That does not enter our thoughts. There's plenty of time. In Holland, one hears, some children were less lucky. It was hard to send them anywhere in Holland. It's a small country, you see. The thing happened quickly. The bombs from the sky are quite indifferent to children. The machine gunners do not distinguish. In Rotterdam, 1/4 of the city was blown to bits. That included, naturally, ordinary buildings with the usual furnishings, such as cats and children. It was an old, peaceful city, Rotterdam. Clean, tidy, full of flowers. But that was not enough, it seems. It was not enough to keep all the children safe. It was ended in a week, and the freedom ended. There's no air raid siren yet in the park. All the glass still stands in the windows around the park. The man on the bench is reading a Yiddish paper. He will not be shot because of that. Oddly enough. He will not even be beaten or imprisoned. Not yet. Not yet. You can be a Finn or a Dane and an American. You can be German or French and an American. Jew, bohunk, nigger, Mick, all the dirty names we call each other, and yet American. We've stuck to that quite a while. Go into Joe's diner and try to tell the truckers you belong to a master race, and you'll get a laugh. What's that, brother? Double talk? I'm a stranger here myself, but it's a free country. It's a free country. Oh, yes. I know the faults on the other side. The lyncher's rope, the bought justice, the wasted land, the scale on the leaf, the borers in the corn, the finks with their clubs, the gray sky of relief, all the long shame of our hearts and the long disunion. I'm merely remarking. As a country, we try. As a country, I think we try. They tried in Spain, but the tanks and the planes won out. They fought very well and long. They fought to be free, but it seems that was not enough. They did not have the equipment, so they lost. They tried in Finland. The resistance was shrewd, skillful, intelligent, waged by a free folk. That resistance is now ended. We're slow to wake. Good-natured as a country. It is our fault and our virtue. We like to raise a man to the highest power and then throw bricks at him. We don't like war, and we like to speak our minds. We're used to speaking our minds. There are certain words, our own and others, we're used to. Words we've used, heard, had to recite, forgotten, rubbed shiny in the pocket, left home for keepsakes, inherited, stuck away in the back drawer, in the locked trunk, at the back of the quiet mind. Liberty, equality, fraternity. To none will we sell, refuse, or deny right or justice. We hold these truths to be self-evident. I'm merely saying, what if these words pass? What if they pass and are gone and are no more? Eviscerated, blotted out of the world. We're used to them. So used that we half forget. The way you forget the looks of your own house, and yet you can walk around it in the darkness. You can't put a price on sunlight or the air. You can't put a price on these. So they must be easy. They were bought with belief and passion at great cost. They were bought with the bitter and anonymous blood of farmers, teachers, shoemakers, and fools who broke the old rule and the pride of kings. And some never saw the end. And many were weary, some doubtful, many confused. They were bought by the ragged boys at Valmy Mill, the yokels at Lexington with the long light guns and the dry New England faces, the iron barons writing a charter out for their own iron advantage. Not the people, yet the people got it into their hands and marked it with their own sweat. It took long to buy these words. It took a long time to buy them, and much pain. Thenceforward and forever free. Thenceforward and forever free. No man may be bound or fined or slain till he's been judged by his peers. To form a more perfect union. The others have their words too, and strong words. Strong as the tanks, explosive as the bombs. The state is all worship the state. The leader is all worship the leader. Strength is all worship strength. Worship, bow down or die. I shall go back through the park to my safe house. This is not London or Paris. This is the high, bright city. The lucky place. The place that always had time. The boys in their shirt sleeves here. The big, flowering girls. The bicycle riders, the kids with the model planes. The lovers who lie on the grass, uncaring of eyes, as if they lay on an island out of time. The tough kids squirting the water at the fountain, whistled at by the cop. The dopes who write "Jimmy's a dope" on the tunnel walls, they're all quite safe. Nothing will happen to them. Nothing will happen. Of course. Go tell Frank the Yanks aren't coming in Union Square. Go tell the new broker story about the president, whatever it is. That's going to help a lot. There's time to drink your highball. Plenty of time. Go tell fire it only burns in another country. Go tell the bombers this is the wrong address. The hurricane to pass on the other side. Go tell the earthquake it must not shake the ground. The bell has rung in the night, and the air quakes with it. I shall not sleep tonight when I hear the plane.
That was Stephen Vincent Benet's poem, Nightmare at Noon. The Columbia Workshop presents the second poem, Radio in the Rain, by E.B. White. American readers know Mr. White best for his light verse. At present, he writes a regular department for Harper's Magazine, and the following work appeared in Harper's July issue, Radio in the Rain by E.B. White.
Sit here, my soul, and disregard the rain that is not falling, yet appears to fall. We are bringing you the rain as a transcribed feature. On every field, in every ditch and gully, in the swamps, extra in the swamps, in the grass, where the step falls, where the bird is, rain. Sit here, my soul, and take your medicine, interpreted for you by Mr. Arrowroot.
Listen to the news, it's a calling. Listen to the news, it's a calling. Go ahead, Stockholm. Go ahead, London. They covered the retreat as best they could. They were brave in the everlasting columns. They wore their immortality proudly. The enemy is in complete possession of all the principal railroad centers. The enemy is in complete possession.
Sit here, my violated soul. Swallow your bitter pill, and remember there are hundreds of tempting ways to serve bananas. And I always say, if you've seen one late afternoon, one declining civilization, you've seen them all. Sit here, my soul, and think about superior races that are on the move. This is National Child Health Week, also the week the British failed in Norway. And by paying 1 cent more, this is our special sale, you can get 200 soda tablets for 51 cents. You can get Austria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Finland, Denmark, if you know the name of your local dealer. Austria, Czechoslovakia, or aren't you listening anymore? Pay close attention, oh my soul, and don't go gathering wool in May. These sick thoughts of mine won't stand up in the superior literature among the superior races. I mean the ones that are in possession of the principal railroad centers. This stuff is moldy. It has no virility, no national theme, no broad world outlook, except the rain. But the leader will stop the rain when it becomes apparent that it no longer serves any useful purpose in the realm, or when a cheap substitute can be found. Try Cripps, my soul, all others having failed. Come in, Cripps.
This is Cripps, speaking from Paris. Chancellor Hitler today baked himself a cake.
It was lighter, creamier than the rest, and will be eaten everywhere by those who like cake and by those who don't. The young will eat it as a breakfast treat. Young Germans and young Danes will eat this cake. It is particularly appealing to the young and has a fudge filling.
I read a statement quite a while ago when Germany was succeeding in the cold fjord. The captain of a tramp, an eyewitness, told how the invaders looked. They were very young, he said, and they seemed to know just where they were going. That's the thing about young men. You tell them where they are going, and they believe it. Not till they're old do they find out they never got there. Try Crips and let it rain. Let it rain on the mechanized unit entering the town that's been destroyed already from the air. Totally destroyed. No houses left, no streets, no hint of habitation. Totally destroyed. No houses left, no shops, no summer in the shops, no summertime, no streets, no children in the streets, no streets in summer, only the successful unit and immediate supplies. Fill up the tank, my soul. Get extra mileage, for you'll need it bad.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Now in memory pictured dwells apple blossoms and chapel bells and you.
The singing hills are singing tonight, so says the voice that ought to know. The hills singing in the rain, perhaps. The rain is amplified, and the song is you.
There were sharp skirmishes among the patrol. Elsewhere it was quiet.
Tonight, powerful units of the battle fleet are steaming under forced draft to the Antipodes. The first Antipodes on the left after you pass the A&P. When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are, except, of course, that it's advisable to be a member of a superior race. Try Crips, my soul, and let it rain. This is the lumber for the bookshelves. These are the white pine boards, dressed down to 7/8, low shelves for children's books. I promised I would build them. That was before Trondheim. That was before Narvik, before Danzig, Prague, Warsaw, Vienna, when there was some sense to building shelves for books. I suppose I'll build them anyway, since they are planned. Blitz carpentry, a new technique in building shelves. Mine will be a daring piece of construction never before attempted in the history of the world. An interesting and unique experiment. Every saw cut mapped. Every joint worked out in advance. Every nail hole drilled, ready to receive the nail. Ends squared in readiness to make the butt. A 6-inch baseboard with a molded edge. The top shelf beveled slightly to give a softer line. 32 1/2 inches between sections, center to center. 32 1/2. The whole operation to be supported by shore and sea batteries and from the air. I will send agents ahead to prepare the minds of the children. I'll swing the first end piece in place, toenail it, first marking with the square the exact position of the bottom shelf, for the tallest books of all, for the littlest children of all. And before the inhabitants can resist, my shelves will be complete. There'll be little resistance from the people, and I will meet this by superior force and by telling them it is for their own good. The secret of success in carpentry is speed, audacity, and ruthlessness, and the willingness to throw lives away once you've begun. Never to turn back, never to think, never to let the mind present its side of the case. Shells. There is no time to lose in this war. Bring up the reserves of books. This place for Alice, this for Toad. Here will march Babar, elegantly dressed. Here, Arthur and Celeste. Elizabeth, Eliza, your place is there. Pinocchio, Einar, Dorothy, Bartholomew Cubbins, everyone in position, please. Ready for the event.
This is Berlin. The resistance will be easily met. And the books destroyed. The time for books being past. The stage is set. There's no need for books now, for their work is done. They merely confuse the children's minds. Except, of course, the one I wrote myself. Superior children must have simple minds. One book, not many, and one plain desire. Thank you, Berlin. We now return you to the studio.
Sit still, my soul, and remember, 32.5 inches center to center, section after section, section after section, section after section. And if you don't know the name of your dealer, just write your name on a postcard.
Barometer reading 29.52, unsteady. Next broadcast of weather conditions at 6:45 p.m. You will be amazed at the prevailing low prices. Allied Chemical, $1.79. American Smelting, 48 3/4. Continental Can, 45.5. DuPont, 186.5. International Harvester, 57. Radio Corporation of America, 6.5. Union Pacific, 93 3/4. U.S. Steel Common, 60.
Here is a breakfast treat. Cinnamon Twist sunk early today by a direct hit between the two forward gun turrets. Observers in the attacking plane said flames shot upward 1,500 feet into the air. Keep tuned in for your favorite flames, upward shooting.
This dark adventure that we know as rain, this condensation of all mortal pain measured in inches, preserved by mulching, this is the liquid part of sorrow, failure in the inundated furrow. How old is rain? There must have been long centuries of rain, and sun following rain, eons when the rain fell sometimes boisterously, sometimes quietly, on a world infinitely receptive to rain. I like to think about those early rains, wetting the aloof woods, descending coolly on untraveled seas, converging in the eventually navigable streams, time motionless. The world so still and pure. Rain on palmetto leaves making the sound of rain. In calm centuries, still free of trouble and still innocent of gain, just long, cool, unobserved rain. Earth was a solitary drinker then. How many million summer showers Earth sipped quietly and quite alone, standing at the bar of time, its foot cocked up upon the rail, thinking its green, immeasurable, long thoughts. How many million times the sun, bursting primordial barriers of cloud, came forth upon the glistening land and shone. Sit here, my soul. This is the Yankee Network prophesying rain. Rain in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, rain in the Ozarks, rain on the banks of the Wabash, along the Swanee River, rain. Rain on the roof of my old Kentucky home where the sun shines bright before and after rain. Rain in Ohio, in the Lehigh Valley, on the sidewalks of New York. Rain in East 11th Street, in the Erstadal, on Lake Ladoga in the rain. Rain in the jungle in the night, and in the morning of the world. Sit here, my soul, and let it rain. How lovely is thy dwelling place. Where shall I find freedom? On the dial? What number on the dial, please? Is it between the magnetic mines and the ABC shoe polish? Or is it that humming that I hear between the well-informed source and that incomparable substance that has been toasted to a rich golden brown? Perhaps it has escaped the box and lies hidden somewhere in the shelves alongside the radio. Perhaps it is in the new shelves I'm about to build. That's where it is, in the books, all written down. I must remember to instruct the young, so they will know where they are going. It is of the utmost importance that the young be told in plain words where they are going. That much was demonstrated by our success in the occupation of Vargravia, where the stupid inhabitants, 600,000 of them, were taken by 3 light companies and 1 brass band. They cheered the band. I must give detailed instructions. What the objectives are, what rules obtained, what to look out for on the way, how best to deal with prisoners and the unsympathetic elements. I must equip them with the most advanced weapons and show them how to use them. Books are their weapons. Strange as that may seem, books, ideas, the same old swords, but brighter now for having shown themselves imperishable. First, of course, books must be burned. This tempers them and makes them hold their edge. The enemy will take care of all that. I mean the book burning. The fires will soon be set. A day will come, and you will smell it in the air, the unmistakable aroma of charred books. This happens when someone comes along who hates and fears the irritant of truth, the quiet disrespect of libraries. These old burnt books, if only the incendiaries knew it, are like burnt pastures in the spring, cleansed, ready for the new growth pushing through. It's never hurt yet, this burning of the books. Oh, the pages burn all right. Words, songs, conclusions, the dots and commas, the immediate dream. But when the fire cools, there yet remains the fine, imperishable ash. Young man, fear not the destroyer and the flame. Truth laughs at these. Fear only your own mind, where truth neglected can so soon abort. Things must be right if anything's to grow. Oh, spark unquenchable, ember that will not cool. Oh, youth, if only I could make you see. This is your sword. This is your double-bitted axe. This is your miracle of gasoline chemistry. Books seem so ineffectual beside a tank. Nevertheless, your enemy fears them in his heart. He knows they'll find his heel at last. Young man, advance. Stand here. Stand so. I shall instruct you where to go. If we are to retake the fort, it is vital that we be in possession of certain strategic ideals. And I don't mean railroad centers. You've got to hang on to the things that must be hung on to, and let the superior races worry about the iron ore. Let me now fit you out. I give you this bright western star to be your armored motor car. I give you songs old poets made, new forged into a stainless braid. Truth, however hard to bear, will guard your rear. I give you tolerance and mirth, love of rain and the wet earth. Without these you must not go forth. Wear justice handy in your belt. Our lines will be spread out over an immense front, too wide to specify, yet no one need go far to find the war. The foe is everywhere. It is for you to dare individual combat. There is no leader in this strange campaign. Your secret thoughts, quick to wander, will be your commander. This is the gist of our attack. This our strength, our cause, our victory. Young man, be brave. It is yourself that you must save. Forget the railroads and the ore. Remember what you're fighting for. I will be there with reinforcements. See these shelves? I have begun. I'm throwing trained regulars into the breach, section after section. Alice, Pinocchio, to arms. The war is here. Ina, Dorothy, Bartholomew Cubbins, everyone in position, please. Ready for the event. Young man, take your position. Do not wait for drums. This is a drumless war. Sit still, my soul.
You have just heard Radio in the Rain, a dramatic poem by E.B. White, spoken by Dwight Weist. This was the second of two poems presented by the Columbia Workshop this evening. The first was titled Nightmare at Noon and was the work of Stephen Vincent Benet. Bernard Herrmann conducted the orchestra, and the production was directed by Earl McGill. Next week at this same time, the Columbia Workshop will present the delightful fantasy The 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins by Dr. Seuss, prepared for radio by Stuart Ayres and Nyla Mack. Howard Lindsay, co-star of the current play Life with Father, will be heard in the leading role. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.